Hello, welcome back to Cornell Communications YouTube channel. Thank you for taking the time to watch our videos today. In today's video, we're going to be going over our digital Sentinel AOR system, or Area of Rescue system. The goal of today's video is to provide you with information to ensure a seamless installation of your Sentinel system and its components. Let's jump right in. We're going to start with the main head-end unit. That's going to be the SCM 4825 unit. It's going to plug into a 120 volt AC outlet for power, and then you have multiple connections on here to connect different devices such as call stations and phones. We have a couple ports up here. One is for a POTS phone modem, an add-on option to allow for an analog phone line for the system to dial out. We have a WAN port here, and that's just for a network connection to provide internet to the system to get it online. We have a PC port here to connect a laptop or other computer to make programming changes. And we just have a LAN port here, which provides the network connection to the first 8-port PoE switch within the unit. So again, we're giving the network into it, and now they'll be able to allow other devices onto our system network. You're going to use these 8 ports here for PoE devices such as call stations or base station phones, or you can use it to jump to another expansion switch device to expand or extend your system network. And if you look here, we have an AC loss relay. This will trigger when the AC to the main head-end unit is lost. We set our system to trigger an auxiliary dome light. On the video, you might not be able to tell, but here we have a red light turning on when the AC is lost. And over on this side of the unit, we do have 2 programmable relays. We have Relay 1 and Relay 2, which can be programmed to trigger during different system statuses, such as a call station or base station fault or connection error. And we usually program Relay 2 to trigger during other system status faults, such as a trunk phone line connection error or network connection error. There's a couple status lights at the bottom to let you know the status of the unit. The form factor for this unit is going to be a 3U form factor, so it can fit in a 3U networking rack space. Cornell also offers a back box to mount it in, which is going to be our BB-49S back box, as well as battery backup options. The main head-end unit here is powered by 120 volts AC. It will come with a cord to use to connect it to a nearby outlet, and it just connects into the rear of the main head-end unit itself to provide power. Returning to the main head-end unit here, we're going to start talking about the dial-out options that the Sentinel AOR system has. Natively, it is capable of using a digital SIP type of phone line when dialing out. All you need to do is provide an internet line connection, as we went over before, to enable that option. Alternatively, the Sentinel AOR system can use an analog, or otherwise known as a POTS phone line. It's a typical RJ11 2-wire tip-and-ring telephone line to dial out. To allow the system that capability, an auxiliary modem needs to be added. It's going to be our POTS-4800S modem. All it requires by the installer is to provide the RJ11 telephone line used for it to dial out on. Cornell includes the data patch cable to allow it on our network, and also a power connector to provide 12 volts DC power. Typically the modem mounts on top of or adjacent to the main head-end unit here. Moving along, we're now going to take a look at our 4800 VS-3 call station device. These are going to be used to activate a call from the designated area of rescue or emergency response location. They are a 3-gang device, and typically all call stations are factory programmed here by Cornell. You receive a programming guide that will list out the locations that each call station must be installed in. It's usually on a USB drive included with your order or shipment. Keep an eye out for that and try not to lose it. Each call station device has a unique identifier called a MAC address, which is used to program that device for a specific location. You always want to match the correct MAC address with the correct programmed location. The call station is designed to blink once every 10 seconds as a heartbeat pulse to let you know that the call station is ready and in standby condition, waiting to be pressed. When you press the button, the call station button will blink faster at about once per second or so to let you know that the call has been activated, just like it says on the call station itself. Simply pressing a button on any call station device will activate a call. When a call station button is pressed, an audible message plays indicating that their request for help has been activated.
Please stand by. Your emergency request for help has been activated.
All calls will ring internally to the base station phone device so an on-site operator can answer any of these emergency requests for help. The system can optionally be set up to forward that call to an off-site monitoring location. All right, now we're going to take a look at our base station phone device. The part number for this is going to be the A4800BS for base station. It's going to be a touchscreen IP-based digital phone. Typically it will mount in a metallic enclosure. That's going to be our BB-48SM metal back box. Comes with a lock and a key to secure the back box, as well as a window to view the screen on their touchscreen phone. If we open it up, you can just see it's just a phone with a handset. It typically takes a single Cat5e or better cable, and then you can connect this base station phone back to your head-end unit, and you always want to connect to one of the 8 ports in your main head-end PoE switch. You can connect to any of the 8 ports. They can all be used for base station phones or additional call station devices. Next up, we're going to talk about our ES4808S expansion switch kit. Now, the expansion switches are going to be used to extend or expand the system capabilities. The head-end unit can support up to 8 devices, but if you need more than that, you'll have to add 1 or more expansion switches. Each expansion switch allows for another 8 devices to be added to the system. Again, it can also be used to expand the system network. Considering 328 feet is a cable distance limitation, you can put an expansion switch every 300 or so feet to bridge long distance cable runs and essentially daisy chain them to get very long distances, even up to over 1,000 feet. Looking inside the expansion switch enclosure, you'll notice the expansion switch unit itself here. Looking more at the connections for the expansion switch, right here we have 2 connection points. The first one here is going to be typically used as an input to give the network to this expansion switch. This connection will come from the head end or a previous expansion switch. The next connection port here could be used to extend or expand the system and would go to a subsequent expansion switch if needed. Then you will have 8 additional ports to use to add that many devices to the network. These can be call stations or base station phones. Looking over here on the expansion switch is going to be where your input power comes in. Each expansion switch is powered by 24 volts DC input power, and over here is a 24 volt DC power supply. Each expansion switch will include a power supply with battery backup. Now, the power supply requires 120 volts AC input power and will provide 24 DC output power. The power supply constantly keeps the batteries charged until they are being used for emergency battery backup power. Each pair of batteries typically provides up to 3 hours of battery backup time for your expansion switch. Lastly, we're going to cover our battery backup options for the main head-end unit. We have 2 battery backup options. This one would be our smaller battery backup option, which includes a pair of 12 volt, 7 ampere hour batteries. It typically provides up to 3 hours of battery backup time for the main head-end unit. Cornell also offers a larger battery backup option, typically used when the battery backup lifetime needs to meet the 28-hour code requirement, 24 hours of standby with 4 hours active battery backup time. The battery backup option for the main head-end unit will always connect to these terminals here, which allow the batteries to provide backup power to the head-end unit, but also for the head-end unit to keep those batteries charged. Now that you're ready to install your system, we have 10 tips and tricks you can use to make sure your installation is seamless, quick, and correct. Number 1, ensure all of your power supplies being used are set to 24 volts DC. Each power supply comes set typically at 12 volts DC from the factory and may need to be set to 24 volts DC. You never want to change the voltage while the power supply is energized. Always de-energize the power supply, then switch it to 24 volts DC, then re-energize the power supply. Number 2, install your 4800 VS-3 and A-4800BS base station phone devices into their programmed locations. Typically, all Sentinel AOR systems are factory programmed and all devices have been set for specific locations and need to be installed in their programmed locations. A list is typically included on a USB drive to reference their locations. Number 3, the POTS analog phone modem, or the 9010-481 modem, mounts onto or adjacent to the main head-end unit, the SCM4825. Number 4, always power both inputs on each of your expansion switch PoE switches. There is a V1 and a V2 input for 24 volts DC. You can jumper V1 positive to V2 positive and V1 negative to V2 negative. Number 5, energize the system as the last step. You always want to mount your back boxes, install your devices, make your network and other cable connections, and as the last step, you just want to energize the system and all power supplies. Number 6, once your system fully powers up, it may generate some fault or error calls on the system. Fault or error calls on the system are within normal operation and are designed to bring attention to device or connection errors. Number 7, the call station LEDs will blink one time every 10 seconds when in standby mode and waiting to be pressed. Those LEDs will then blink once every second when the button is pressed and there is an active call on that call station. A faster blink rate or a different blink rate than those two indicates that that call station device is not programmed. Number 8, if your Sentinel AOR system is going to be dialing out to a monitoring location, Cornell always recommends testing your phone line being provided to our system for it to dial out. This ensures that the format of the phone number is correct, that that phone line can reach its intended destination, and many other things to know that it is a working, valid phone line. Number 9, remember, systems are typically factory programmed. Here at Cornell, all call stations will need to be installed in their programmed locations according to the list provided to you in your programming packet. Number 10, use the Cornell USB for resourcing all information needed, as there is no printed information included with your system. All programming information will be stored on the USB drive included with your specific system. The USB includes installation guides, programming guides, and other helpful information. Thank you for watching this video. You can check out our other videos on our YouTube channel or give us a call anytime here at Cornell.